All right. Hey, what's up, young scholars from the DadCypher universe? So this past Saturday, I hit you guys with a very I want to say a very powerful testimony and poetic narrative about my upbringing in childhood. In particular, I am a survivor of childhood trauma at the hand of a toxic family member. So my poem really focused on how I really endured and overcame this childhood trauma. And I want to talk to you guys today in the question in the topic that we will focus on is how can we protect our kids from toxic family members during the holidays? So with that in mind, I would say I'm coming first and foremost, before we dive off into that topic of how do we protect our kids during the holidays from toxic family members, I really want to share like a couple of comments that I read in regards to the last episode. And I'll drop that last episode entitled F Your Fort to this link to this video here. So it says, the conversation is so needed in a Black family, and I cannot wait on the next episode. People really resonated with this idea of how do we protect our children from toxic family members. I would say for me, the best way that you could do that is become hyper vigilant. That means doing whatever it takes to protect your kids from these family members. And sometimes I know that's extremely hard because no one wants to exile their family members, but if they are hurting your children, what you're doing is teaching your kid that the abuser is more important than they are. And one of the things that you could do with that abuser is maybe encourage them to get the help that they need. That being said, I want you guys to not only click and subscribe, but I would like you to also write down some ways and make sure these are legal ways that you will protect your children from toxic family members. And if you are a fellow survivor of toxic families or toxic childhood trauma, better known as transgenerational trauma, please share your stories or links or any information so we can help our viewers to who may not have overcome their childhood trauma to make it and that sort of thing. With that being said, I just want to make sure, as a professor of African American literature, African diaspora studies, that is, that I at least give you some information on what you can read that can help you out. In terms of fiction, great books that really can help you to hear the story of transgenerational trauma or childhood trauma and let you know that you're not alone. You can read Toni Morrison's Sula. Excellent book. And it talks about this whole entire family and how they overcame transgenerational trauma. James Baldwin's Sonny Blues, and it talks about, in particular, a father who was unable to share his childhood trauma, and as a result, his son became an addict, and by not being able to fully express some of the emotional pain that he had. Of course, you can always read the classic Alice Walker's The Color Purple, which is all about transgenerational trauma. Also, I want to put you guys on to some people who work in nonfiction. First, it's an amazing book that I plan on reading over the break. Is It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn, and it's talking about transgenerational trauma. Also, for my people of color who not only deal with transgenerational trauma, intergenerational trauma, and historic trauma. A great book to read is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy Degruy. Hopefully I pronounced the last name correct. Last but not least, I want to make sure that you read any type of scholarship by Wizdom Powell, who is an amazing scholar that covers that. with that being said, again, I will put the link to my previous video here entitled F Your Fort, which was based off of Snoop Dogg's Baby Boy and that sort of thing, that particular scene where he is really traumatizing the young boy by Taraji P. Henson and that sort of thing. So check that one out. Again, please click subscribe, share your stories about how you overcame childhood trauma. This is something that all the kids need, especially those of us who maybe have grown up fatherless and that sort of thing, that really would need to hear from an adult that will, who have come through the other side of this. And don't forget to watch my new episode, part 2 of F Your Fort, where I talk about how that childhood trauma that I experienced bled into my fatherhood, and how I had to learn how to overcome some things to become a better dad for my kids. So with that being said, enjoy your holidays, young scholars, and make sure that you watch and take care of your youth and your kids. And I will see you next time. Peace.